The thing about money is that people don't show you who they are when you have it. They show you who they are when they think you've lost it. My name is Gerald Holt. I'm 67 years old. I spent 31 years building a commercial real estate portfolio across 4 states. Nothing flashy. Warehouses mostly. Industrial parks. The kind of properties that don't make magazines but make money quietly, the way good things usually do. Last April, I retired. And then I made a decision that changed everything I thought I knew about my own children. I pretended to go broke. I have 3 kids. Robbie, 41, Candace, 38, and my youngest, May, 34. Their mother, Dottie, passed 6 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. Fast and unfair, the way that particular disease always is. After she died, I kept working because stopping felt like falling. When I finally retired, my accountant sat across from me and said, "Gerald, you never have to worry again." I nodded and drove home in my 2009 Ford F-150 and watered my tomatoes and thought about Dottie. The worry wasn't about money. The worry was about my children. Robbie had been asking about the estate for 2 years. Casual questions. Slipped into phone calls. "Dad, have you thought about the will? Have you talked to the attorney? Just want to make sure everything's organized." Candace had started cringing her husband on emails to me about family finances. May hadn't called in 3 months. I sat on my porch one Thursday evening and I thought, I need to know who they actually are. So I called my attorney, Lawrence, and I told him what I wanted to do. He said, "Gerald, are you sure?" I said, "Lawrence, draw up the paperwork." It wasn't complicated. Lawrence sent formal letters to all 3 children. Dry legal language, the kind that lands heavy. The summary was simple. Several bad investments. A failed partnership. Significant losses. The portfolio was largely liquidated to cover debts. What remained was the house and a modest monthly income. Enough to live on, nothing more. Every word of it was fiction. I told one person the truth. My neighbor Harold, 72 years old, a retired high school principal who has never once repeated anything I've told him in 11 years. Harold was the only human being on earth who knew Gerald Holt was not broke. Then I waited. Robbie called first. 4 hours after the letter arrived. "Dad," he said. His voice had a new texture. Careful, like a man walking on ice. "I got the letter. I need to understand what this means for the house. Not, are you okay? Not, what do you need? What does this mean for the house?" I told him I was managing. That I'd be fine. That I didn't need anything. He said, "Okay." And we talked for 6 more minutes about nothing. And he hung up. Candace texted. She did not call. The text said, "Got the letter. That's really unfortunate, Dad. Let us know if you need anything. Let us know if you need anything." 7 words that meant, please don't actually need anything. I set my phone on the kitchen table and sat with that for a while. May called, on day 3. I almost didn't recognize her voice at first, because she was crying before I even said hello. "Daddy," she said, and that one word hit me somewhere I wasn't prepared for. "I'm so sorry. I've been terrible. I haven't called and I didn't have a good reason. And are you eating? Are you okay? Can I come this weekend?" I told her she didn't need to do that. She came anyway. She showed up Saturday morning with groceries, filled my refrigerator, fixed the screen door that had been sticking since October, and sat with me on the porch until the sun went down. She didn't ask about the will. She didn't mention the letter. She just sat there with her coffee and told me about her life and asked about mine. Before she left, she pressed an envelope into my hand. "I know it's not much," she said, "but I want to help with bills until you figure things out." Inside was a check for $1,400. May is a 3rd-grade teacher. $1,400 is not nothing to May. I held that envelope in the kitchen after her taillights disappeared, and I cried in the way that men my age cry, quietly, once, briefly, and then stop, because I had my answer. I called Lawrence on Monday morning. I told him to update the estate documents. May's share was tripling. The house was going to her outright. A separate trust I'd been sitting on for 2 years, enough to mean something real, was going directly into her name. Then I called Robbie. I told him I had good news, that the financial situation had resolved. that a property deal had come through unexpectedly and I was fine. He sounded relieved, in the specific way that people sound relieved when a burden has been lifted from them personally. "That's great, Dad," he said. "Really great." "It is," I agreed. I called Candace and told her the same thing. She texted back, "Oh, wonderful. So glad it worked out." I have not told either of them about May's trust. I don't plan to. I still water my tomatoes every morning in my old flannel and my beat-up garden boots. The F-150 still has the same crack in the dashboard I've been meaning to fix for 2 years. Last Sunday, May came for dinner. She brought her boyfriend, a quiet young man who shook my hand and helped clear the table without being asked. We sat on the porch after, May with her coffee, me with mine. "How are you really doing, Daddy?" she asked. I looked at the yard, at the tomatoes, at the house Dottie picked out in 1993, because she said the kitchen light was perfect. "May," I said, "I'm doing exactly right." She smiled and leaned her head on my shoulder. She still doesn't know. And some truths, I've decided, are better kept by the person they belong to. Some tests you run not to punish anyone, just to know, just to finally know. If this story stayed with you, subscribe. More real, raw, family-centered stories every week. You're going to love it here.